Hi, everybody. Today we are going to play a bit around the same style and technique. So let's start with the basics of drawing. When you want to draw a face, all you need is a simple grid. This grid helps you decide where the main features go. And once you have that structure, you are in control. You can design any face you want. And here, we are not aiming for likeness. We are not aiming for realism. We are just drawing faces. We are just playing around with that. Okay. And with the grid in place, you can push things as far as you want. You can exaggerate proportions. You can use and natural shapes. As long as you keep the main structure, it will work. Okay. If you're still struggling to find your style or trying to understand how to work with the skills that you already have, this exercise might help you because the goal today is to experiment and have fun. Many of you ask about the materials I use. So here is what we are going to be using today. We're going to use paper, of course. This is a 250 GSM, watercolor pencils, brushes, acrylic paint. You can easily do this with other types of paint as well, but today we're going to be using acrylic. Water, something to mix the paint, cloth, and a sponge. I prefer kitchen sponges because they are easy to find and they are disposable. So, with that in mind, let's start today's practice. And we are going to limit ourselves to 3 to 4 colors because we want to keep things simple. The technique will stay the same, but the focus is on seeing how many variations we can get from that single approach. A common struggle, especially early on, but also for people who have been making art for a while, is finding a personal style. Most of time, this happens because people are not painting to express themselves. They are painting to meet expectations, usually other people's expectations. And when you do that, you give up meaning. It becomes about approval instead of expression. And that is a losing game. It is already hard enough to know what you want. Trying to meet someone else's expectations on top of that makes it impossible. Imagine if Picasso tried to paint like Van Gogh, or if Van Gogh tried to paint like Monet. That never happened. They focused on expressing how they felt, not on fitting into someone else's idea of what art should be. When we talk about painting, we often talk about goals, improvements, results, skills. Even when we say art should be free, we quietly carry expectations with us. Today, I want to talk a little bit about something simpler: play. Not play as something childish or careless, but play as the absence of obligation, painting without the need to achieve anything other than the act of painting itself. When you remove the pressure of doing it as if it was some kind of task or obligation, something interesting happens. Your hands and your mind will relax, and your decisions will become quicker. You stop correcting and start responding. So today, I'm not trying to arrive anywhere specific. There is no final image I am chasing. There is no ideal version I am measuring against. That is why working in series matters so much, because it makes you produce with consistency, because it removes the weight from each individual piece. When you repeat the same formats, the same palettes, the same general approach, you create a controlled space for variation. The structure stays stable, but everything else is allowed to move. This is where play becomes productive without trying to be productive. You are not inventing something new from scratch every time. You are simply asking, what happens if I shift this slightly? What happens if I exaggerate this? What happens if I leave this unsolved? The goal is not to improve faster, but to stay present longer. At times we struggle not because of lack of talent. It rarely is. Actually, it is usually because we attach too much meaning to each result. This one must be good. This one must prove something. This one must justify the time. Play breaks that logic. If nothing is at stake, everything becomes possible. These portraits, for instance, they are not attempts to capture anything. There's nothing here that I'm trying to do apart from trying different approaches of the same style and technique. Okay, so they are responses to shape, to color, to mood. Some will feel quiet, some will feel tense, definitely some will feel awkward, and all of them are valid. Variation within a single style allows you to discover things you could never plan. You start noticing tendencies. You see what you repeat without even realizing. You see what excites you when no one is watching. This is how personal language forms, not through ambition. Ambition is important, of course, but it is not more important than attention. And above all, than intentionality. When painting becomes playful, it also becomes sustainable. You are more likely to return. You are more likely to experiment. You are more likely to forgive mistakes. And that matters more than any rigid outcome. If art is only about expectations, it becomes exhausting. If it's only about expression, it becomes honest. Play is not the opposite of seriousness. It is the foundation of it. Playing is part of practice. That is often where new ideas come from. Sometimes it leads you to something you can actually integrate into your work. And sometimes it helps you understand what you truly care about. So, this one here is my favorite from this batch, but let me know which one you liked better. So if you still feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of your own results, try narrowing the rules like the same size, the same color, the same subject. Then remove expectations. Paint not to arrive somewhere, but to see what shows up. Because sometimes the most important things a painting can give you is not an image, it is permission. So, here are the results of what we've done today. I hope you've learned something new today. And even if this is not something you would do in order to display or include in your portfolio, it still matters. As always, keep on practicing and thank you for joining us.